While students and universities celebrate December graduations, the numbers show interest in higher education is waning in Missouri. Our Missouri Capitol reporter Hannah Falcon spoke with a graduate at the University of Missouri about why she chose school over entering the workforce.
Well, school's out for the winter here at the University of Missouri as 1,700 students prepare to walk that stage and receive a diploma for all their years of hard work. But as they're celebrating, more and more Missourians are actually choosing not to go into higher education at all.
It was so much of a puzzle for me. I could find where the pieces fit, and then all of a sudden I had this beautiful picture.
Jessica Schrader is receiving a degree in mathematics, a subject she learned to love.
And whenever I was tutoring, I liked being able to help students also find where those pieces fit in.
Although Schrader chose higher education, many Missourians are choosing alternative paths. Data from the National Student Research Clearinghouse shows enrollment in higher education for Missourians has decreased over the past 5 years.
I really believe that the trades program offers a tremendous amount of opportunity.
John Scalise helps connect people in mid-Missouri to vocational training, anything from line cooking, hair braiding to construction and highway maintenance.
Learning about the tools, you're learning about measurements and all those important things, but then you're putting your hands on and actually building a home.
He sees people come in for all kinds of reasons. They can get on the job quicker, find high-paying careers with only a few weeks or months of training, or maybe they just need to start working right away to support themselves or family.
There's some very high-paying jobs that are readily accessible, but sometimes people have never heard about them.
I didn't really find my passion until I started trying to take the weird classes.
Schrader enjoyed her time in higher education so much, she hopes to return.
My long-term goal is to become a professor at a university like Mizzou so I can teach future generations of scientists.
Reporting in Columbia, I'm Hannah Falcon, WGEM News.